Floods, wildfires, storms, drought. Our climate is changing. In Scotland, the race is on to reduce our emissions, but how we do it has become a burning issue. The idea of warming ourselves in the depths of winter by a wood-burning stove is a charming thought, but could this soon be a thing of the past? As Scotland looks to tackle climate change, it means we will have to do things differently. Heating in particular has become a hot topic. Gas heats the majority of homes in Scotland, and over half don't meet a good level of energy efficiency. Now there are plans to change that. From the 1st of April this year, the use of oil and gas boilers was banned in new builds. By the end of 2028, all homes rented out by private landlords will have to meet minimum energy efficiency standards. For private homeowners, that deadline is extended to the end of 2033. All buildings owned by Scottish public authorities will need clean heating by 2038. And by 2045, the use of polluting heating systems in buildings will be banned. One heating solution is heat pumps, both air and ground source.
Well, we wanted a nice warm house.
Leslie Gormsall has lived here for over 30 years. She and her husband were determined to move away from gas central heating, retrofit their house with a heat pump and modernise their insulation.
It's been a cold granite house. It needed some work doing, and if we're staying here in our retirement, then we needed to make it future-proof for ourselves and nice and warm. And that's what we've got. And the bills are a lot cheaper.
Air source heat pumps work almost like a reversed fridge. Heat is taken from outside air. This heat is then circulated through a heat exchanger, which contains a refrigerant that absorbs the heat and evaporates, turning into a gas. That gas is then compressed, increasing its temperature, where it is transferred to a heat exchanger to heat the water that circulates around your radiators and is stored in a cylinder for hot water. But heat pumps are not without their critics, who argue they're expensive and don't work in Scotland's climate.
I made a castle.
This was meant to be the perfect family home for Charlotte Rogers and her 2 young boys. But she's faced multiple problems with the build, and her heat pump doesn't work.
I bought this house having, come up from England after a bad split. I wanted to provide something for the boys, and it's just not been that kind of fairy tale that we'd hoped it would be.
Robbie Devine has been installing heat pumps since 2020 and is confident they are vital if we are to reduce our emissions.
They use this technology in the Arctic Circle, so why wouldn't it work in the UK? We've got a far more moderate, climate than they have, and they work perfectly well as long as they're set up properly.
We haven't had any heating since October of 23, still haven't got it now. The bedroom of my youngest son got down to 13 degrees. Then obviously putting him to bed in fully clothes, thick jumpers, jacket, hat, gloves, thickest blankets, we doubled up, we'd got the thick duvet on, and he still had cold toes in the morning. It was getting to the point where I was waking up at night because it was just bone-chillingly cold.
New technology can offer solutions to our heating issues. But tomorrow night we will take a deeper look at the problems they also raise and hear more from those at the sharp end of the race to net zero.